Hello everyone, good afternoon, and today we are just talking about Unit 7. We'll discuss the roundup, and by this we end this unit, and we'll go on with Unit 8, a few lessons, and then after that we will see what we can do. But before I start with the roundup in here, I just want to talk about one thing about the contrasting information here, related to grammar function and even related to writing, and some certain words that we use when we are just introducing contrasting ideas. You know that basically we use but when we have any contrasting idea. Like for example, if I say I like apple, but I don't like bananas, for example. So here, because I'm just like contradicting two sentences, or I'm introducing another contrast sentence, which is this sentence, that disagrees with the first one, so I use but. At the same time here, we can use some other words similar to but, and these words like however and although. Of course, there are many other words from outside the lesson, like in contrast and contrary and stuff like that. But basically we need these three words, so we need to talk about however, although, and but. So these are three linking words, or we use them just to introduce a contrasting idea, as simple as that. So when we are introducing contrasting information, we can use one of these. The only difference is about punctuation marks. Like for example, however, we start the sentence by that, and then or we can put it at the end, as we will see in this example right here. So let me read fast and then we move on. So use however, although, and but to introduce contrasting or surprising information. Example here, they say hunting for them is illegal, full stop. However, they are still endangered. Endangered means that they are at the risk of being extinct, not safe. Hunting for them is illegal, they are still endangered, comma, however, full stop. So you see, these turtles are rare, but there are things we can do to help them survive. Although the turtles spend most of their time in the water, females come out to lay their eggs. So we can use this. The idea is like that. We use however, although, but when we are using contrasting information, as simple as that. That's it for this grammar books here. Now we move on into the roundup. And you know, in Unit 7 we learned, or let's see, here are some of the things you practiced in Unit 7. And in fact, we learned in Unit 7. Read each them with your partner, take it in turn, and to give other example. Whatever. So here we talked about, first of all, using the zero conditional to talk about things that are always true. If there isn't enough rain, plants dies. And you guys, you remember that we talked about zero conditional, and I said that we use it only when we have something 100% true, which means that something is always true. If you heat ice, it melts. You remember when we discussed the zero conditional? If you heat ice, it melts. 1 second, please. So we talked about that. If you heat ice, it melts. And then also, you remember, because I started with the if sentence, I use a comma here, and basically I can start by the opposite, the other sentence. Ice melts if you heat it. Sorry. So basically here the idea is that because I have something 100% true, it's a scientific fact, I use zero conditional. This is what we talked about, zero conditional. Now next one we discussed here, using the first conditional and will, may, might to express degrees of possibility in the future. So I also discussed first conditional, and we said that first conditional we make it, or we form first conditional by using simple present plus if clause. So we use the present simple and the if clause, which means it includes will. Alright, like for example, I will write a report about the Arabian Sea if I find the information I need. If you live in the south, you may want to check the forecast tomorrow. If we threw rubbish into the sea, a sea turtle might eat it and die. Is that clear? So this is regarding the zero or and first conditional. Then we moved on and we discussed the passive. If you remember, we used passive voice, and you remember passive voice, we said that it's mabni lil majhul. The focus in the passive voice is on the action more than the doer, or we don't know, or we don't care about who does the action, but we focus on the action itself. Like if you remember, I said Tom eats an apple, and I look at the tense of the sentence. If you see here, Tom eats an apple. Let's put it in one page here. Tom eats an apple. I look at the sentence. What tense is it? It's in the present simple. So simply I take the object of the sentence اللي هو بهاي sentence الأبل. So I say an apple is eaten by Tom. I can add by to talk about who does the action, or I can drop this, and I can drop by Tom, or I can add it, but I need to add by in order to talk about the doer. So here I focus on the object. The object who will apple, I put it at the beginning of the sentence, and then I use the is and verb 3, and I use verb be and verb 3 to form the passive voice. Petroleum was formed millions of years ago. This sentence is in the past, simple past zaman. Sea turtles have been protected, perfect, present perfect, since the 1970s, and many more rainforest plants will be studied in the future, and this is also future. We used well. Talking about certainty and uncertainty, we might discuss definitely, probably, and perhaps to talk about possibilities, something possible. I'll definitely bring some sun cream. I'll probably go to the beach tomorrow. Perhaps you should listen to the weather forecast. And then we can drop this using formal vocabulary and reports, because we already have been through many formal vocabularies in the texts that I used to read here in this. And now, last but not least, we have using words to link contrasting ideas that I started this lesson with, but although and however, so we use them to introduce contrasting ideas. I stayed up late, but I couldn't finish my homework. Although the desktop computer is cheaper, I want to buy a laptop. It will be sunny in most of the UK, however, it may rain in London. Okay, so that's it for the roundup, but there is one exercise here I need to focus on to revise the vocabulary that we have been through before. So this is like a mix of 10 words that we need to match with the correct word, but I'll do immediately I'll do exercise C, because exercise C is the definitions, and the definitions by themselves, they will have the same correct word right here. So we start by number 1, a place where, so I'm answering here, a place where petroleum is processed. Here, a place where petroleum is processed is a refinery, you remember? So it's number 1, refinery. Let's see. Number 2, the circle a satellite makes around a planet. You remember? We talked about circle that a satellite does around the planet, which is orbit. Number 3, a person who studies the earth. You remember? Here, number 2, geologist. So a person who studies earth is a geologist. Number 4, a dangerous storm. It can be here from these words is the hurricane. And number 5, something that is built over a petroleum well. If you remember, when we build something like machinery in order to start drilling and extracting petroleum, so we use a derrick here. I suppose it's gonna be derrick. Right. Number 6, to put a satellite into space, to start the journey of a satellite into space, we say launch. يطلق يعني, as you remember, we said launch here, يطلق. A bird's mouth, like the mouth of the bird is, what can we say from the words here? We can say beak, منقار, أو الفم تبع طائر منقار بما معناه يأتي هنا يعني منقار. Next we have something that revolves around a planet. Something that revolves or like rotates around the planet or a planet is a satellite. If you remember, we said that a satellite revolves around a planet, right? Satellite, number 9. And number 8 satellite. Number 9, a ship for carrying petroleum or gas, like a very big ship that carrying petroleum or gas. This is a tanker. And the last one is software in your computer that holds information, and that's it, which is memory. Alright, And that's it by unit 7 and the roundup. Now we move on into unit 8, and I have something to start with, which is GBS receivers. So we have two texts here, or two small articles about GBS. We will read them and see what we are talking about here. Alright, first of all we need to know what GBS is. And as you know, we came across this before in one of the lessons, and GBS is like the global positioning system. So GBS, we'll discuss GBS here. Let me put it at the beginning here. GBS, which means global positioning system. Alright, global positioning system. We can make it a little bit lower here, not bold, make it like that. So GBS, global positioning system. Now I'll start reading the text here, and then we can move on into any difficult words. So GBS helps rescuers find hiker. A hiker is someone who goes on a long walk, especially like climbing mountains while walking. Okay, so this is hiker. An injured hiker was rescued in the Scottish Highlands yesterday. Rescuers found Paul Dupont, a hiker from France, thanks to his GBS receiver. So the reason why they found him, or they helped him, is the GBS receiver. And you know, receiver is the device that receives the information at the other end, because if I have a GBS, there must be connected by something, by sort of something like a satellite, and send signals to other receivers around the world, so they can know exactly where you are, the position that you are in when you turn on this device. Let's go. Paul was hiking in the hills near Aviemore when there was an unexpected storm or snowstorm. Unexpected. So when there was an unexpected storm, wait 1 second. So Paul was hiking in the hills near Aviemore when there was an unexpected snowstorm. He decided to turn back because he knew that it could be dangerous to be out in this area alone in bad weather, even in the autumn. The snow began to fall faster and thicker, said Paul, and I couldn't see very far ahead. Paul continued walking, and an experienced hiker, he was not very worried. Then suddenly he lost his footing. Lost his footing means that he missed one step in the correct direction. So he lost his footing. The next minute he was sliding down a long hill and gathering speed. فيعني وقع. That's it. So he was starting to gathering speed. A rock eventually broke his fall. So he stopped because he hit a rock, so that stopped him from his fall. And then Paul tried to stand up. I screamed in pain, he said, and I fell down again. I knew I had broken my leg. Fortunately, Paul had a mobile phone in his pocket, and he called the police. He told them he was hurt and unable to walk. But I didn't know where I was. It had become very cold, he said, and I was afraid I was going to die. However, Paul remembered that he had a GPS receiver in his rucksack. And rucksack here is the bag that you carry on your pack for long distances or long trips, like a bag that you carry for long trips, and you carry many things with it. Let's see it in the dictionary right here. We can say rucksack. Rucksack. Sorry, a bag used for carrying things on your back, especially by people on long walks. And I know that you know this type of bags, which is like it comes because as long, not like the school bag, but it's something different. Let's see, rucksack. That's it. So this is the rucksack, you see. So you can use it for hiking or for traveling or sort of things. All right. Here, so However, Paul remembered that he had a GPS receiver in his rucksack. He used it to find where he was on a map, and he was able to tell the police. 20 minutes later, a mountain rescue helicopter arrived to take him to hospital. I'm very lucky, he told reporters. I'm alive thanks to my GPS receiver. So that's it for the first text. So how they help him? They help this hiker by using his GPS. And the other text here, how a GPS receiver works. What is the mechanism of the GPS receiver and how it works? Simply, let's read the text and we can see what we are talking about in here. Most people know it is possible to buy a car with a global positioning system. What many people do not know is that you can also get a handheld GPS receiver. Fishermen use them to find where they are in the ocean, and many people who do outdoor sports such as hiking use them to avoid getting lost. How do GPS receivers work? They are connected to a network of satellites. So first thing we need to know is that these GPS are connected to satellites around the world. So how do GPS receivers work? They are connected to a network of satellites. When you turn your GPS receiver on, it looks for at least 4 of the GPS satellites. Radio signals are sent from the satellite to the receiver. The receiver measures the time it takes from the signal or for the signals to reach it. With this information, the receiver is able to measure how far it is from the satellites. Once the receiver knows its distance from the satellites, it is able to find its position on Earth. When its position has been calculated, يعني لما بيعملوا measurement بيعملوا حسابات العملية بين الريسيفر وبين satellite, when they calculate this process, it is matched to a map the receiver has in its memory. Then you can look at the map and see exactly where you are. GPS receivers are expensive, but many people who are outdoors a lot think they are worth the money. So that's it for this text. Also, it's very easy, 2 texts here, but simply one note يعني ملاحظة بس بخصوص ال GPS as we all know now. Nowadays, with the advancement of technology, we can use anything by maps also. Like GPS is replaced by maps on our mobile phones that we use every day to drop pins and just find locations and stuff like that. So this is very advanced technology that is really helpful in any emergency situation or any other normal situation to know where you are exactly in any new area that you are in. And that's it for this lesson. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and see you next time with our most probably last lesson for this year. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Goodbye.